What's up, everybody? Granford here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my past life. Now, I'm not really one to hang on to the past. I don't like to live in the past. I'm looking to the future. Uh, but today we're going to be talking about my past for two reasons. Number one, I want to document my journey from where I'm at now at the bottom to my level at the top when I get there. Uh, I do understand it's a journey, it's not a destination, but I want to document the journey as I go along. And the second reason I want to talk about my past is to show I'm just a regular guy, right? I'm just a regular guy who come from a regular class, um, and I want to be relatable. One day I plan on, you know, guiding people to walk the same path that I walked, or to find the same type of journey that I found for themselves. And I want them to know how relatable I am looking at my content, in years to come. So those are the two reasons that we're going to talk about my past today. We're going to talk about five things. Number one is my home life. So growing up, I came from a relatively abusive um, home, and it kind of set me up with different ways of thinking about things. I try not to let that be an excuse for why I think certain ways, or I do certain things. Um, I believe that we are all responsible for our actions. Things in the past may affect us, but I think we ultimately have control over that. Um, I learned a lot of the wrong ways of doing things. Whether it was how to be a dad, how to be a husband, um, the kind of woman to marry, financial literacy. I learned it all the wrong ways, and looking back, I see where I did some of those things the wrong way myself. But like I said, I like to take responsibility for my actions. So I don't blame my parents. I don't blame my upbringing. I don't blame any of the past for what I do now. Um, you know, One of the other things that was pretty common in my household, it still is, uh, not in my household but my family. Um, Wealth is pretty well looked down on. If you're wealthy, your priorities are probably not in the right spot. That's just kind of how my family's always looked at it. And even whenever I talk to my family now about it, it's still they still kind of put out those types of vibes. Like, I've mentioned, the desire to build wealth, and I've had family members ask me, why, you know, it's not all about money, right? You need to be thankful for the things you do have. And I get where they're coming from. It's just the wrong type of mindset that I don't want to, keep growing. So that's a little bit about my home life. Um, Number two is education. So I was homeschooled by my parents. What that means is I didn't really get an education. Early on, they stopped teaching us everything except math and religious studies. Um, and they looked at everything else as it was garbage, information. So there wasn't a whole lot that I learned as a kid growing up. And then when I got out of the house, I started college. I got into some law enforcement studies and a few other things. Um, Dropped out of that real quick. I realized I needed to spend more time working, to make a decent paycheck. So I got out of that real quick. I do have a GED. Um, yeah, just no real education behind me. So again, I don't let that hold me back. I truly believe, I know that it is very possible to get to where you want to be, regardless of what the level is, without a college degree, a high school diploma, years of education. I truly believe I can do that. I don't need the that extra education piece. And I sure don't let it hold me back. Let's talk about my jobs. So I've had a few jobs in my life. I started with a bunch of odd jobs. I worked for family friends, mowing, forest clearing, fence line cleaning, just different things like that. I even worked for a millionaire for a couple of years, and it's funny. I never back then. I never really had the I guess the mental capacity to look at what they were doing, how they were living, and think to myself, I could do this too. I just assumed, oh, he's on a different level of playing field. I have no way to access that. So it's kind of funny looking back. So I did those for a few years. When I turned, I believe it was 17, I got a job at Target. I was a cart pusher. I was basically the guy that gathered all the shopping carts and put them where they would go. Did that for about a year. I was making $7.25 an hour then, part time, and that's when I dropped out of college. I realized I needed to pursue more work. I got promoted to the manager of the front part of the store of Target, and a 25-cent raise, so $7.50 an hour at that time. Um, Left Target, went to work for a collection agency. I was a bill collector for like 3 months. Did that and quickly left that. Went to become a corrections officer in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. I was a prison guard. Um, did that for about a year. It was really, I really felt like it was just babysitting, babysitting grown men. It just wasn't my thing. Um, did that for a year, and then I joined the army. I was in the army for about 10 years, and that's the highlight of my career life was the army. And we will discuss more about the army in later videos. Um, but that's actually when I had my awakening. We'll talk about that in a minute. My most recent job is actually the one I'm doing now. I'm an online security guard. Essentially, I run a team that watches hundreds of cameras for a secure storage facility, uh, a company storage facility that has a bunch of locations across America. It's really just a side gig. I'm trying to save up some money so I can put it into my real estate and my business that I'm trying to start up. Um, so it's a temporary job, but it's my latest job. So it's a night shift. So most of these videos I do at night before or during the job. Um, yeah, the plan is to get out of this once I get the business up. But for now, this is what I got. Let's talk about financial struggles. So something that most people deal with, and this is where I really prove to be relatable, is all the financial issues that I've had and had to overcome, and I'm still dealing with today. Throughout the years, I worried about bills, 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 bills. We're gonna pay them. Uh, how are we gonna pay them? Are we gonna take money from one funding to another? Uh, things pop up all the time. Vehicles break down. Medical issues take place. You know, I have a dog. She's allergic to all protein, everything. We can't figure. It took us a long time to figure that out, um, and even longer to try and fix it. Still don't have it fixed. So just another expense that is always on my mind when doing the bills. Um, for the longest, me and the wife and the kiddo, we never really took vacations. The biggest thing we did was like $1,000 here or there. Well, actually, I say here or there. It's actually like once a year, maybe, and that all went on a credit card, right? So we would slowly pay that off. We just didn't do a whole lot. We tried to save money, but it seemed like every time we had a good amount in the account, boom, something would happen. A car would break down, transmission go out. Um, had to move, and that kind of took over most of our income. Um, we did a lot of waiting on important things. If it was extremely important, we had to get it done. Well, we threw it on debt. But if we didn't have to get it done immediately, but it was still relatively important, we would just wait. We would wait and just deal with it. Um, there was a lot of scarcity mindset going on throughout my life. Uh, I'm over that now for the most part. I'm still getting better, but for the most part, I've gotten past that. Um, but there used to be a lot of uh, terrible scarcity going on in my head. Always thinking about the amount of money I don't have. Always thinking about the amount of bills I do have. Always thinking about things going wrong, and my life just not being where I wanted it to be. I was always on the lookout for different ways to make money. It was almost like clockwork. I say it all the time. Every 6 to 8 months, I would get in this kind of low depressive state, thinking about, well, what can I do? There's got to be something out there that I can do on the side to make extra cash. I was looking in all the wrong places. I was looking for all the wrong things, but I knew there was something else out there. There had to be something, and I got to mention as a kid, I had this like fantasy alter ego thing that I would do. Like every night, I would go to sleep to it. I would just think about this guy. Don't know his name. Never really. I don't think I really ever gave him a name. He wasn't necessarily me, but I guess you could say he was a different version of me, like a parallel universe version of me. Super successful dude. I mean, I was a kid, so he was a little bit of everything. He was a professional football player. He was a rock star. He was a millionaire. Became president. Like he was a little bit of everything. Super successful guy. Everything that I just pictured the opposite of myself. Right? Like super successful. I never pictured myself being successful as a kid. It just didn't. That that mindset, that teaching wasn't there. So it was kind of my alter ego, but I didn't really think of it as myself back then. But I did, but I didn't, if that makes sense. So, anyway, bringing it a little closer to time, my last couple of years in the Army, 2021 actually is when it happened. I deployed to Germany. I deployed for all my military people out there. You know what that means. Uh, I got a call on that deployment from my wife. She told me that she was driving behind a truck and a rock came out and hit the windshield and it busted. And the first thing I said was, "Oh, a lot of people drive with busted windshields. Don't worry about it. We'll be fine." And I didn't say that because I truly meant it. I said that because I truly didn't want to spend the money on it. Why? Because I was in a scarcity mindset. Um, and I wasn't thinking about the repercussions of that. I've later learned that the windshield provides, I want to say it's up to 60% of the strength of the overall cabin of the vehicle, in case of a rollover. And I didn't know that. But, the fact that the first thing I said was something about saving money, um, it hit me. When I got off the phone, it really hit me. I thought, well, it's a brand new truck. I bought her a brand new truck before I left for Germany, so she didn't have any problems. Um, yeah, it was a tight squeeze, but I wanted to make it happen because I didn't want her having any mechanical issues while I was gone. So, bought her that truck. Windshield busted. The first thing I said was, well, let's save money. Let's be scared. Let's be worried. And it kind of hit me, and I decided, well, enough is enough. So I started searching for things. I started searching on YouTube, how to overcome, the rat race. I didn't know that term at the point, but um, how to overcome poverty, how to get out of the day-to-day monotony. I went to the USO, a little bookstore, and found a book called Think and Grow Rich, my all-time favorite book. It changed my life. Studied that, and I just completely changed my mindset that deployment. And I took a new identity, the Granford. That's the new identity, and I just never looked back. And so that's kind of like the rundown of my past, um, and now I'm using that to remind myself every day of what I'm running from. Not in a mindset of fear, but I'm motivated to stay away from that. I'm motivated to be up here and get out of this area. I know I can do it, but I will always remember where I come from. Not because I want to hold on to it, but because it's important for me to understand, even for other people, it doesn't matter where you start. You can get to where you're trying to go, and it's important to fight for that, no matter where you come from. So that's it. Stay tuned for a few more, for more videos in the future. I'll be talking a lot about more things, Army included, Granford included. A lot of updates coming up, so just stay tuned. Thanks, guys. Next time.